morning and welcome to another edition of LTCC Sports. I'm Kendall Burke, joined alongside by Dan Cohen. It's been a busy week in the world of sports, ranging from professional sports to our very own Marist Red Foxes. But first, how's your NCAA bracket looking? The Final Four is set to begin this Saturday at 6 p.m. The 8th seed UConn Huskies are set to take on the number 1 seed Florida Gators in an exciting matchup between the game's most electrifying guards. Led by Shabazz Napier's 25 points, the Huskies managed to defeat the Spartans of Michigan State and earn another spot in the Final Four for the first time since the days of Kemba Walker. Florida comes into Saturday's games off a 10-point win over Dayton, led by Scotty Wilbachen and Patrick Young. The Gators are hoping to keep their winning streak alive. The Gators haven't lost a game since December, which coincidentally was a loss to the Huskies. Now for a look at the other side of the bracket, the Wildcats of Kentucky, who are mostly a freshman team, look to defeat the Badgers of Wisconsin. Kentucky defeated Michigan due to some late-game heroics by Aaron Harrison, who nailed a 3 with less than 2 seconds to go in the game. The Badgers are led by Frank Kaminsky, who posted 28 points and 18 rebounds to lead his team over Arizona. With their seasons on the line, we expect nothing short of the best from this year's Final Four teams.
All roads in women's college basketball are headed towards the perfect finale. After a pair of undefeated seasons by UConn and Notre Dame and just one win away from a legendary matchup, the UConn ladies face the number 2 seed Stanford Cardinal from their respective region, while the Notre Dame Fighting Irish take on the number 4 seed Maryland Terrapins from the Louisville region Sunday. Both games are rematches from earlier this season where the Irish and Huskies came out on top. Stanford head coach Tara Vandiver said in a press conference late Tuesday night, if they just wanted a Connecticut-Notre Dame showdown, would they make us do this for? Vandiver said this because nobody is even giving the Cardinal or the Terrapins a chance in this weekend. Some people believe the selection committee tried to create this finale by putting UConn and Notre Dame on opposite sides of the bracket. Do you believe this is true, Kendall?
You know, Dan, I don't really think what the selection committee did was fair. But, you know, I think Stanford has a really good opportunity to make history and come out on top.
I fully agree with that. And you know what? We still have to play the game. It's not set in stone already.
Definitely. Now, Deshaun Jackson did not stay unemployed for very long. After what seemed like an all-day courtship Tuesday, the Washington Redskins inked a contract with Deshaun Jackson late that night for a 3-year deal worth $24 million, 16 of which is guaranteed. Adding a highlight reel like Jackson will help any passing offense. He will be joining Pierre Garçon and Jordan Reed to make a dangerous trio for Robert Griffin III to throw to. Last Friday, Jackson was released by the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles let go of Jackson because his contract and relationship with Chip Kelly. Also, last Friday, NewJersey.com released a report that inked Deshaun Jackson to a California gang named the Crips. Coming up after the break, we'll be joined in the studio with Christian Clark, who will give us some insight on the rest of the NBA season.
Hey, yo, guys, just making sure. Am I in the frame for the camera?
Frame camera too? Yeah, 2-shot looks good.
Of course you're in a frame.
We're coming back.
Square up.
Right here.
Square up.
Square up on your chair. No, square up on your chair.
Hey, if they start getting the combos, do
There you go, and then square up the camera too.
She'll probably take
Yeah.
a cut, all right? Right there, so it's close up on that.
Come back on 2. Okay. Can you ask Callie if she's going to be jumping to 1 when I'm reading, or are we going to be staying on 2?
Is there some way to lower this chair?
Staying on camera 2 the whole time.
Other side. Reach your arm down. Step with Christian. Other side.
Christian, so I'm going to be reading from this. I'm going to go from paper. Okay.
Crap.
It's all good.
Gotta look at 1.
I'll just stand tall. It's all good. Let me know.
You guys really don't look that off balance.
All right, we're good then.
Yeah, because the last one I looked like I was 6'7".
Hey, 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Christian, I'll tell you when. You're going to have to look over at camera 1 eventually, but start with camera 2.
Okay. Just keep signaling.
10 seconds, guys.
Welcome back. I am joined by Christian Clark, who is here to give us his NBA predictions as we come down the stretch. Thank you, Christian. Starting with the Western Conference's top seed. Between San Antonio, the LA Clippers, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who will win the number 1 seed in the West?
Well, Dan, I'm going to have to go ahead and say that Oklahoma City will win the West. With the leadership, skill, and experience of MVP frontrunner Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, and Russell Westbrook, I believe they can easily take the lead over the Clippers and the Spurs.
Sure. And so now going from the top of the playoffs to the bottom. So we have Memphis, Phoenix, and Dallas are 3 teams vying for the last 2 playoff spots. Which team will not make the playoffs, Christian?
I'm going to say right now that the Suns are not going to make the playoffs this year. They have a very tight schedule coming up. They'll be playing against the powerhouse Thunder and Spurs, along with battles with the Mavericks and the Grizzlies, who are competing for the same playoff spot. While the 7th and 8th seeds are up for grabs, I think that Dallas will take 7 and Memphis will take 8.
Sure. And so taking a closer look at the Rocket stars James Harden, Dwight Howard, can they come together after just 1 season and make a run in these playoffs?
I mean, well, there's no doubt that Harden and Howard are both exceptional NBA players, but I do not think they're capable of making a playoff run just yet. I still think they need a year or 2 to get used to Houston's system so that they develop chemistry and teamwork. But in a year or 2, I can definitely see them making a serious NBA playoff run.
Sure, and also, I mean, we have the fact that Dwight Howard is just coming back off of back surgery. It's still less than 2 years after, and so that's a big issue as far as how healthy can he be. Jumping back across our Mississippi River to the Eastern Conference top seed. Who do you like between Miami and Indiana?
Miami will take the number 1 seed. Back-to-back NBA champions, and with big names on the roster such as LeBron James, Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, we can expect that the defending champions will clinch the number 1 seed again.
So you're not worried at all about the fact that Indiana's put all their chips in one basket to be the number 1 seed?
Not at all. It's like I'm saying right now it's going to Miami.
Sure. And so looking at the middle of the pack, do you have a mid-seed sleeper in the Eastern Conference?
Yes, Dan. For my mid-season sleeper, I got to go with the Brooklyn Nets. After a rough start to the season, they really pulled it together, and Jason Kidd has become like accustomed to his new team in his first year as a head coach.
Sure. And while Jason Kidd is getting accustomed, they also have a lot of moving pieces and some elderly parts. And when you have elderly parts, that can always come back to help you in the playoffs. Don't you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
So I would say they could definitely make a run, but I wouldn't say that they're going to do serious damage. I still believe it's between Miami and Indiana. Getting to our local team. Sorry, Christian. Didn't mean to cut you off there. The Knicks now have a slight lead over the Hawks for the 8th spot, just a couple percentage points. Do you think they will hold the lead and make the playoffs?
Well, unfortunately, I do not think that the Knicks will make the playoffs this year. Their inconsistent play has hurt them all season, and while they currently sit at the 8th seed, I believe the Hawks will jump out right behind and take 8.
Sure. And so sticking with the Knicks, and if they don't make the playoffs, do you think that's a major factor in Carmelo Anthony staying here?
Probably not. I mean, like I think we'll definitely see Melo in a Knicks jersey for a long time.
Okay. And so, hypothetically speaking, if the Knicks do make the playoffs, who do they match up better between Indiana and Miami?
Well, Dan, I hate to break it to you, but they're going to have trouble against either team, so it really wouldn't matter. They'd be outsized by the Pacers and outplayed by the Heat. Against either team, they would either be swept or lose 4-1. They need to focus on their off season and rebuilding for next season. It's not their year this season.
Sure. I don't necessarily believe that they're going to make a run, but I do believe the Knicks can make the playoffs and maybe win a game or 2 in it. But you know what? That might be my fandom playing a little bit of a role. I know that you're unbiased as our reporter. Let's take a look at some of the players that make these teams great. You know, great players required for great teams. The MVP race is tight and volatile. Everyone can narrow it down to 2 guys. But that's why we have Christian here to narrow it down to 1. So, Christian, Kevin Durant or LeBron James?
I'm going to say that Kevin Durant's going to win the MVP. He's been carrying Oklahoma City on his shoulders and playing unbelievably. He's even quoted as saying how he's sick and tired of always finishing second and looking to finish on top. We can just see how determined this man is to earn the trophy.
Sure, and is there another guy that you would consider giving a run? Like, I know that LeBron James and Kevin Durant are by far the best, and Kevin Durant's ability to shoot the ball, to drive the ball, to dunk the ball is far better than what a lot of players can do. But do you see a third player possibly playing a role in this MVP race, or is it a 2-headed monster?
It's a 2-headed monster, Durant and James.
Okay. So thank you very much, Christian. I appreciate that. After rehabilitating his ailing back to get ready for the Masters and make a run at the gold jacket, Tiger Woods has withdrawn from the next weekend's tournament as a result of back surgery on Monday. He was limited by a pinched nerve for several months now. This is the first time in 20 years the world's #1 player will not be competing in the event. Tiger Woods said about missing the Masters, "I'd like to express my deepest disappointment to the Augusta National membership, staff, volunteers, and patrons that I will not be at the Masters. It is a week that is very special to me. It also looks like I'll be forced to miss some upcoming tournaments to focus on my rehabilitation and getting healthy. I certainly hope Tiger can get well soon, as the sport without him is just not as good." Turn down the heat. Let's get it cold in here. Frozen 4 coming up after the break.
Welcome back. On April 10th at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, we will see Minnesota versus North Dakota and Boston College versus Union for the NCAA Frozen Four. These are two games you do not want to miss. Union will be facing a powerhouse Boston College squad led by New Jersey native Calgary Flames prospect Johnny Gardeau and Massachusetts native Blackhawks first-round draft choice Kevin Hayes. With exceptional team play and stellar goaltending from Colin Stevens, we can expect that the Dutchmen will make it an interesting for Boston College. Now we're going to throw it over to Jeff Magliacetti with his NHL predictions.
Thanks a lot, Kendall. How you doing, folks? Me, Jeff Magliacetti. With me, my trusty linemate here, the touchscreen. We're going to talk about the NHL predictions as we head into the final year. Let's take a look at the Western Conference first. There are 6 teams who have clinched their spot at this point right now. You have the St. Louis Blues, you have the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, LA Kings, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Avalanche and the Blackhawks are kind of injured right now. The Avalanche will be missing Matt Duchene, not to mention the Blackhawks are going to be missing Patrick Sharp, Jonathan Taves, and Patrick Kane. So those two teams are going to be something to look forward to, see how they recover from injury. As for the rest of the West, you got a great battle for the #1 seed right now. You have the Sharks, you have the Blues, you have the Ducks, all with 100+ points and all going to go hard for that final spot. In the end, I think the St. Louis Blues are going to take it. I think the acquisition of Ryan Miller turned out to be one of the best things a team could have done this trade deadline, and it's going to pay off huge dividends for the Blues. You see what Ryan Miller's doing with the team now. He was on the Buffalo Sabres this year, a team that doesn't even have 50 points yet, and he was still doing pretty well. And now he's with the Blues. He's going to become a huge X factor. The new NHL playoff format system is very interesting this year. The top 3 teams in each division will go to the playoffs, in addition to 2 wild cards, regardless of division. Let's take a look at that battle for the wild card spot right now as we take a look for the Western Conference. Our first team up, we have the Minnesota Wild. The Wild, they made a huge splash in free agency a couple years back. They brought in Zach Parise from the New Jersey Devils. They brought in Ryan Suter from the Nashville Predators. But so far, it's been very mediocre times for the Minnesota Wild because last year they made the 8th seed and were defeated very handily by the eventual champion Chicago Blackhawks. And as you can see this year, they're headed for the wild card as well. We take a look at some of their interesting stats. They've won their previous 2 huge games against the Phoenix Coyotes and the LA Kings. But prior to that, they were 2-4-2 in their previous 8 games. That's not something you need at the end of the season. They have 6 games remaining and 4 against quality opponents. We define quality opponents in this situation as teams with over 500 records right now, still in contention for playoff spots. So it's going to be interesting for the Minnesota Wild as they wrap up this season. Let's go to our next team. We got the Dallas Stars. New look, same old Dallas Stars consistency right there. Dallas trying to make the playoffs for the first time in a few years, led by some great goaltending in Kari Lehtinen, not to mention a great scorer in Jamie Benn. We take a look at their schedule right now. They have 7 games remaining, 4 against quality opponents, including the biggest one of all. April 13th, Sunday, Sunday. The Stars will be taking on the Phoenix Coyotes in what could be a winner-take-all for that final wild card spot. You gotta love NHL hockey this time of year, except when it's your team, of course, playing, in which case I advise you check into the nearest hospital. And we check in with our final team, the Phoenix Coyotes. And someone once told me that the new Phoenix Coyotes logo looks like he's choking up a hairball. And that's exactly what the Coyotes are doing this year, guys, because the Coyotes had 2 huge opportunities to pick up points. They played the Minnesota Wild on Saturday. They lost 3-1. Then last night, late game, maybe I should have been preparing for this, but I was watching the Coyotes take on the LA Kings, and the Coyotes got blown out 4-0. They have an injury right now in Mike Smith, and Sean Grice is turning into be a great backup goaltender for them, really picking up the slack. But right now for the Phoenix Coyotes, they figure to be the outside team looking in. Country, shall we? We have the NHL Eastern Conference. Not everyone has clinched the playoffs, the automatic playoff spots yet in the Eastern Conference, but you pretty much have your 6 automatic setup. You have the Philadelphia Flyers, the New York Rangers, I can't wait to see that first round match, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Eastern leaders, the Boston Bruins. The Bruins are a pretty good team. They're over 100 plus points, and I personally think they can get that #1 seed. And right now, I believe the Bruins are the favorite. Let's take a look at our contenders for the wild card. We take a look here, the Detroit Red Wings. This is the last time the Detroit Red Wings missed the playoffs. George H.W. Bush was still in office. And we take a look at some of their stats right now. 6 games remaining, 3 against quality opponents. And with the consistency of Mike Babcock and the rest of the lineup, I think this is a team that's playoff bound. Then we look at a team at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. We got the Columbus Blue Jackets right here. The Blue Jackets have, so you can just, their 2nd franchise playoff berth. The one time they made it was in 2009. They're one of 3 teams in the 4 major sports leagues that have never won a playoff game. I'll let you know who the other 2 next week. I'm just kidding, folks. It's the Winnipeg Jets, also the NHL, and the Charlotte Bobcats of the NBA. They have 7 games remaining, and that's a great stat to have. They also have several former New York Rangers on the team. In the end, though, you got several teams fighting this spot, including the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have found themselves in a bit of a losing streak, the New Jersey Devils, who have really gone bad shootouts this year, and that's going to come back to haunt them, and the Washington Capitals have been consistent. I think the final Eastern Conference wildcard stay to Columbus and Detroit. Send it back.
Thank you very much, Jeff. A lot of information there. Teddy Bridgewater, Blake Bortles, Johnny Football. I'll tell you who to pick and why when we come back. Welcome back. Anticipation surrounds the first round of the NFL Draft, which is scheduled for Thursday, May 8th. One of the biggest questions surrounding the event of this year is who will be the first quarterback taken. The Houston Texans, have the pick this year, and they are either going to take a defensive end or a quarterback. Let us start with the quarterbacks. There are 3 prime candidates to be taken at first quarterback overall. Blake Bortles from UFC, Teddy Bridgewater out of Louisville, and Johnny Manziel out of Texas A&M. All are highly rated QBs who scouts deemed NFL ready. Manziel will be an attractive pick for the Texans because Johnny Football is already a Tejas boy. Throughout his high school and college career, he's handled the heat of being a QB in arguably the craziest football-hungry state in America. In addition, Manziel provides great revenue opportunities because of his dynamic off-the-field persona. Bridgewater exhibits great strength, composure, and decision-making. All are qualities teams seek when searching for a franchise quarterback. NFL executives point out weaknesses in his game like pocket presence, footwork, and accuracy. The best of these 3 may just be Blake Bortles. With his experience level and competition does not match up with the other 2, his arm strength is superior. Blake Bortles took UFC to its first BCS bowl game and pulled off the upset of number 5 Baylor this year. It should be exciting to see what happens on NFL Draft Day.
Talking about quarterbacks, what more can you say about Chucky Looney and what he did for the Marist College last year? Not only did he lead the team to its first ever conference championship, but he had a record-breaking season himself. He set a single-season program record with 18 touchdown passes, one which went for 97 yards, which is the longest play in program history. Looney also broke the school record for most career touchdown passes with 31. With Looney now gone, the Foxes have big shoes to fill. The Marist College football team opened up spring practice Monday morning at Tenney Stadium. This marks the beginning of a 14 practice season, leading up to the team's inter-squad spring game on April 27th at 4 p.m. The Red Foxes earned a share of the Pioneer Football League championship with an 8-3 record last season. The 2014 season will be a difficult road due to the loss of a few key players, such as quarterback Chucky Looney, wide receiver Armani Martin, and defensive end Terrence Fidei. The rebuilding process could be difficult, but next year's Red Foxes will look to achieve a similar result, with a different cast. Captain Paul Sikowski will be returning for a 5th season and will look to lead the Red Foxes to another championship under his leadership, and along with some other key role players. The Red Foxes will make a bid at returning to the top of the league as Pioneer Conference champions for a 2nd consecutive season. There has been one player tearing up the MAC this year, and when we come back from the break, we'll introduce you to him. Hello? Coming back,
Can you get me
talking
Toronto?
about quarterbacks, what more can you say about Chucky
Can you
Looney?
tell
You're
me
good?
stop
Okay.
it too? Yeah, come.
Welcome back. The Wrecker has been wrecking the MAC this season. The story is our own Pat.
After graduating 3 of the top 5 scorers from last year for a combined total of 119 points, many questions surrounded the Marist lacrosse team in terms of their offense. A lot of people didn't know where the offensive players would step in and who would step up to take on roles that were left open by players from last year. One player who has definitely stepped up this year is freshman sensation J.D. Ricoeur, who is now tied with fellow attackman Joe Radin for leading the team in total points. If you remember from last year, Radin earned MAC Rookie of the Year awards. Right now, Ricoeur is ahead of the team with 21 assists, which is 13 more than the second place guy behind him, and also leads the team in total assists per game with just over 2.
I think it's a testament to how we are as a team, the way the offense is run. I know Joe Radin and Colin Joka, my attackmen, along with me, have been playing at a high level, I think, the whole year.
JD is now quarterbacking a high-powered, explosive Marist offense that leads the MAC in both goals per game average with 11 and total goals with 101. However, Ricoeur's presence isn't just felt in the Marist locker room, it's felt throughout the entire conference. JD is currently in second place for assists per game and total assists in the MAC Conference behind Richie Hurley of Siena, and is fourth for total points in the MAC Conference behind Michael Sagal, Alex Maney, and Richie Hurley from Siena. Despite his impressive track record so far, expectations remain extremely high for this talented young freshman.
I think as a team we just need to get better every day, every practice. Heading to a big weekend in Detroit, we need to get better every practice, not focus on what's ahead of us, just focus on the here and now and, just go out and change how things have been.
All right, thanks, JD. The Marist lacrosse team has struggled to hit their stride this season. Through the first 9 games, the Red Foxes have earned a disappointing 3-6 losing record. However, for this Red Fox team, what's more concerning is their apparent struggle in conference play. As of right now, the Red Foxes stand at 1-2 in the conference, putting them in second to last only over Monmouth University. The Red Foxes get back into action this Saturday against Detroit Mercy, who knocked Marist out of the MAC tournament last year in the semifinal round, so you can expect some serious fireworks. For LTCC Sports, I'm Pat Fermo.
Thank you, Pat. The Marist baseball team has been struggling this season with a record of 7-17 overall and 1-4 in the conference. The Ball Foxes are led on offense by junior first baseman Steve Lorino, who is currently hitting .289 with 13 RBIs. Pitching staff freshman Sean Keaton, who has a 2.5 ERA, has thrown in the mid to high 80s and drops a nasty power curve off the table. His ability to locate the ball in the season has allowed just 4 free passes while striking out 10 batters. This weekend, the Ball Foxes will take on their conference rival, Ryder, who is currently in second place in the MAC. They will have 2 games on Saturday and 1 on Sunday in Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
On to Marist Rugby. After losing a conference championship to rival Vassar College in the fall, the Marist men's rugby team has begun their off-season workouts to prepare for the journey ahead back to the championship. On Sunday, the Red Foxes traveled to Fordham University to play the Rams in a friendly scrimmage. The Red Foxes were victorious despite starting underclassmen at 11 of the 15 starting positions. Marist proved that they are ready to fill the shoes of the seniors that are graduating in May. Senior captain Joe Mann told LTCC Sports, "I'm extremely impressed by how well the young guys are able to play as a team in their first match together." He followed up with saying, "I'm excited to see the team get better with each match, and I can see them going far into the playoffs this fall." Well, that's all we have for today.
For everyone here at LTCC Sports, thank you for joining us. I'm Dan Cohen, and that is Kendall Burke.